What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, Joker back again once again, and Destiny fanboys will never cease to amuse me. It's true. Hell, like 10% of the reason I do this is purely to fuck with them. I mean, look at this brain trust of a human being's non-argument. I don't know why y'all still getting angry over Destiny and keep playing it. That's not healthy. Go to therapy or play something else. Better yet, both. This, of course, is a logical fallacy. Argumento ergo decido, Latin for therefore leave. Also known as the traitorous critic fallacy. Basically, the fallacy implies that the critic just doesn't appreciate what they're criticizing, and that the critic should just avoid the subject entirely by leaving. This, of course, avoids actually having to reply to the critic's criticism by marking them traitorous excommunicatus, basically allowing anyone within the in-group, for our purposes, the fans of what's being criticized, to attack the critic without actually acknowledging their argument. So basically any critical interaction with a fanboy ever. This behavior is always cannibalistic in nature. I mean, look no further than the current issues going on with the Destiny speedrun community. For those of you who don't know, Bungie fundamentally changed the way that swords work, and arguably one of the most dedicated groups who play the game, the speedrun community, is being punished because Bungie couldn't just, I don't know, make new swords and leave the old ones alone, or buff them while leaving intact the functionality that allowed them to be utilized for speedruns. And while I'm not here to talk about the changes to swords, what I am going to talk about is the reaction to the speedrun community getting upset about this change. Basically, when the speedrunning community took to the forums to outline how this change was going to affect them, they were immediately besieged by fanboys who had circled the wagons around Destiny in order to protect it from any and all criticism, because, you know, that's what's going to get the community back. But here we are. Now we have the fanboys going after the speedrunners and basically cannibalizing themselves. But we're not here to flex on these brain trusts of humanity, these fanboys. No. While that would be fun and I'm sure would make a fantastic video, I prefer to make a point. And to do that, we need to start back with this fanboy's tweet, a common fanboy sentiment. I don't know why y'all still getting angry over Destiny and keep playing it. That's not healthy. Go to therapy or play something else. Better yet, both. Now, it might come as a surprise to some of you to learn that I love Destiny. I know, gasp, shock, horror, cheesecake. My continued love for Destiny comes largely down to the lore and the core aspects of the game, the runny, jumpy, climby, shooting aspects. Destiny as a shooter is phenomenal. When the storytelling sucks, when the lore is bad, when the armor is pointless and the weapons are redundant, when the quests are padded and boring, when the MMO and RPG aspects fail the game completely, the runny, jumpy, climby, shooty aspects save it. This is why I don't understand this argument.
If you have any criticism whatsoever, stop playing, leave.
It's like, did it never cross these people's minds that not everything is black and white? Not everything is I like or I don't like. Maybe there's some gray in there. Maybe, just maybe, people like certain aspects of the game, like the runny, jumpy, climby, shooty bits, but everything else falls apart. And maybe, just maybe, they want everything else to be as good as the parts of the game that they like. I know, gas, shock, horror, revelation. We've already done this bit, but mind fucking blown, right? And it would be a complete and utter abject denial of reality to say that Destiny doesn't have some massive fucking issues. Half of these issues, of course, come from the fact that Destiny at its core is a great shooter with an MMORPG super light bolted onto the side. Take the current Empyrean Foundation non-event event, for example. It's just Corridors of Time all over again. No, really, here we have an event that is realistically pointless for a shader and an emblem. It's nothing more than a heralding event for a time-gated piece of content that we might be able to play ahead of schedule. The only reason that this event is slightly better than Corridors of Time is because A, it's in-game so everybody can actually participate, and B, because you can at least progress your time-lost bounties by turning in these materials. So if for whatever reason you've gone the entire season while actually playing this game to get enough materials to actually matter, and you've somehow not managed to get god rolls on these weapons, then I guess you're being given a last chance. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's another pointless event given far more significance than it needs, driving people out to grind for nothing, doing it, I guess, for the sake of doing it. Sorry, maybe I'm weird, but that just doesn't make sense to me. Doing something for nothing for the sake of doing it, I guess, in a looter shooter, that doesn't sound fun. Grinding for nothing doesn't really sound fun at all. Hell, I'd have to imagine that it's pretty monotonous, but to each their own. And while we might debate the merits of this non-event event's legitimacy, it really does a spectacular job of showing just how bolted on many of the RPG and MMO mechanics are to Destiny. For example, and I understand that this is an extreme case, but this player has a resonance of 243,400. According to some basic math here, which states you can only donate 100 fractaline at a time. It takes 3 seconds to donate 100, so you're looking at approximately 2 hours of hitting a button just to donate. Now sure, 243,400 might be on the extreme end. Fine, fair enough. But is 12K? Is 15K? Is 20K? You're still looking at 10 to 20 minutes of doing nothing but turning in materials. Why? Because Destiny's systems do not support basic RPG functionality. Say in Pokemon, when I want to buy or sell large quantities of items, there's a handy dandy slider. Watch and be amazed. What is this sorcery I see? Gasp! Shock! We've done this bit twice already. Okay, anyways, moving forward. Why does it take somebody who has any significant amount of resources more than a couple of seconds to dump them all? I don't think anyone can look at this and argue that it's anything more than bad interface design. And this has been an issue since day one. Anyone remember shaders? And you might think I'm making a big deal out of nothing, but Bungie designed an event where the only way to progress in the event was to turn in vast quantities of materials. And they didn't have the decency to give the community a reach around, slider? That's kind of RPG Basics 101. And it's not just the interface for turning in resources. Like, why do I have to go to a third-party app just to see all the stats on my weapons? Or to see the actual effects that perks and mods have? And why is everything written so vaguely? Like, for example, targeting adjuster just states, gain better target acquisition. What the fuck does that even mean? Oh, you mean it actually just adds a +5 to aim assist on any weapon I equip this to? Well, that's great to know. Why doesn't it just say that? Or how about Masterworks? You would think that a rank 10 range would add +10 to range. Apparently no, it's just +9, which kinda seems arbitrary. Or how about something like or how about a perk like Accurized Rounds where the in-game text just says, increases range. Okay, by how much? Well, let me just go to this third-party app and find out. Oh, it increases it by +10? Why doesn't it just say, increases range by +10? It's like Bungie has an aversion to numbers. But in an MMO or an RPG, those numbers are everything. The ease of buying and selling materials is everything, especially when you're dealing with massive quantities. Like in the current non-event event. People are easily looking at spending up to 5 to 10 minutes of doing nothing but pressing a button to turn in materials, let alone those people that are looking at 20 to 30 to 2 hours. Maybe Bungie should have put more thought into how we interface with the game. If it wants to be an MMORPG, it needs to have systems that support the ease of use for players. End of discussion. Because the small things do matter. The small things are the difference between Destiny being an MMORPG and Destiny being a shooter with extra steps. It's like cooking. Sure, you can cook a steak, well done, in a pan with just salt and pepper and slather it in A1 sauce if you're a heathen. But it's the small things that matter, like using fresh ground pepper, using kosher salt, cooking it rare or medium rare, basting it in butter with crushed garlic and a sprig of thyme. It's the difference between doing something because you have to do it and doing it right. If Destiny wants to be a true MMORPG, there are a lot of systems that need completely overhauled from the ground up. Pointing that out, advocating for it, advocating for better quality content, that doesn't make you a hater. What is it Lord Saladin says when you're winning an Iron Banner? Complacency is the enemy. And there is certainly a demographic, a vocal minority of the Destiny player base that is complacent. And Bungie is certainly complacent. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Remember to like, subscribe, feel free to donate to my Patreon if you are feeling generous. But above all else, stay frosty.